This time we would like to look at how to make a detailed view of one of the products. As we can see here, we have our list of products, and when we click one of them, we do get into a detailed view, but also with a click, no matter where you click, you get out again. But you can scroll in this window if there is too much text. So how did I create this, the MVC structure in Alloy and Titanium from Accelerator? Okay, let's go into same app as I used before. And as you can see, I still have my index with my login form, and in my controller, I still have a shortcut directly to window 2 as shown in the previous video. Okay, so the Windows 2 window is still exactly the same as before. We require a view called product collection, and the product collection is right here. Okay, the product collection does have our collection as a source, and within here we still have exactly the same setup. There's one change, and that is that we now want our product ID to be connected to each row so we can have a identification of the product. Now, there is some functionality, within the collection that makes it possible to go to a CID. The CID is placed directly under the element. So when I want to use an attribute like the product ID, I have to map the CID to the product ID. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. So my collection is going to get a specific ID, and that's exactly the same as the CID that is already connected to it. Later on, we're going to use that to pick out exactly that product. So let's go back to the product collection. What else do we have here? We created a view so we could have the text, the note title, above the price, just as a feature, just to show you how you can do it. We have used a static height and a width of 30%, and then the 70% of this, the rest is for the view containing the vertical alignment of the title and the product price. Okay, so what do we have in here? We have something called, when we want to click on it, yes, when we want to click on the element, we want something to happen. We want to open a view where we can see the details. And for that to happen, I will create an event listener that on the table. So on the table, I create an event listener listening for a click function. And when it clicks, I want to set the model, and I want to get from a specific product from the collection, and I want to get it by CID. And now I can go in and look at what row did you click. And that row contains a ID called product ID now, because we created this up here, and because we added the product ID to the table view row. Then we want to create a controller, and we want to call it detail, product detail. So our detail controller, we want to add our model because we already looked up in our collection all the data we need. And then we want to open the view of the model. So that brings us to showing the detailed view. This is the detailed view window. And with that, we have defined our product collection model up here. And the instance is true, and the ID is product, which is something I called it. And down here, we say that the model is from product, that's up here. And we have some styling on it, and on click, I want to close the window because I don't want to scroll down to find a button somewhere. I just want to be able to close the window when I'm done reading it. The scroll view here is a way to make the window scrolling, or else it's just the same as a view. And in here we create a large image with the width of the size of the window or the phone, and the height is 50%. So I allow the image to be maximum of 50% height. Then we have a label containing the description of the product, and we get that from up here, our model containing a description. The description is called body in our collection. So if we go back, I also added the element description and then got the element attribute body and placed it in there. And that way we got a much more describing title for the description. Okay, and that's why I can get the description right here. At the end I have a button. A button so I can go back or actually close the window. Let's look at the controller in here. Okay, so what I do here, I start to set the arguments that brings in with the model, where we call the product detail, we add the model. So we set the data arguments so we can get the data, and then I have some functionality right here. This forces actually the page to be rendered with the data. And then I have some functionality for my button, and I use a function called close window, which is calling the detail window closed. And then I have a event listener that cleans up after closing the window. So this view or window will actually be destroyed and not stored in cache somewhere, because we don't need it. And if we just want to go through the styles that I have created, the product collection, I do have a separator color called black. That's gonna create the black lines here and here. I do set the background for white, just to make it pretty. And the rest is something that I don't use for this specific right now. So that's, I do move the text just 5 dp density pixels down, so it's not all the way up in the top of the view that we created. And that's about it. And when you do that on Android, it's gonna look like this. And let's go look at it on a iOS simulator. Here we have our products, and in here here you actually see the back button. I can click anywhere and go back. You see there is actually some animations here. I didn't create those animations. That is a built-in functionality in Tintanium Alloy. So that's it.